Welcome to the Fashion Translator. I'm Claire, your host. Together we explore how AI and innovation are reshaping the fashion industry through creativity, technology, and global partnership. For today's episode, I'm excited to welcome Anshu Malika, founder of Tygr Sourcing. Anshu, welcome to the podcast. Please introduce yourself and the company.
Hi, Claire. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about this. So, TYGR is actually an effort from my side to put my 30 years. I started in this industry in 1996. And just to give you a little background, I've been part of the manufacturing at every stage of garment production, from textile to apparel to sourcing. I have been with the brands in US. I've worked all over the globe, and all that experience and learning I wanted to offer to the smaller brands, the DTC brands. With the influx of e-commerce and all these new brands coming up, not many of them understand how to scale their business, and that is what this company is trying to do: work with smaller brands, helping them create great products and also scale up their business and find them the right sources in Asia. So that's Tygr, and that's me.
Amazing. What would you say, like when it comes to these smaller brand, which area would you say they needed the most support? Where for you it was like the most value that you brought in for them?
I think the biggest challenge for anybody starting a new brand in this industry is finding the right materials. My boss in Adidas used to say material is the king, like it's the key to the castle, right? So, and there are large MOQs, and, for making fabric, making textiles is a very tedious process, and it involves a lot of different stages and a lot of commitment, because you cannot make 1,000 yards, 2,000 yards. You have to commit to larger volumes, and smaller brands are not able to do that because they're just starting up. So finding the right material at the right cost. And also now sustainability being a really important part, especially for me. I like to work with brands who are conscious about the environment and who are conscious about the people who they're working with. So fair trade, sustainable materials, finding them, and then helping them create the right product at the right price. I think that is what the biggest challenge is, and that is where I try to help.
Amazing. Which country, when you say you're supporting a lot when it comes to the material, which country mainly are you involved with?
So currently I have an office in Indonesia and in India. But I do have my colleagues in Vietnam and Sri Lanka. So mainly from these countries: Vietnam, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, and India.
Okay, nice. And sustainability is like really a big topic, and it's just going to be more and more present. For sure, definitely material is a big part of it. But what are other aspects of sustainability do you get involved or provide support?
So I feel this, for me, sustainability is like the whole, it's more like a thought process. It's not just, oh, I'm putting recycled, material in my textile. That is not sustainable. Just saying, oh, we're using recycled polyester. That's what most brands are doing these days. That's their 2 cents for sustainability is, oh, we're using recycled polyester. Who are you working with? Who are your vendors? How are they treating the people, the environment around them? I worked in textile mills, and I have seen how people treat the environment around them, because they are being pushed for price, how they cut corners and sacrifice and compromise on the sustainability part. So I know all these loopholes because I've been behind the scenes so much. So my guidance to the brands is, I don't like working with people who are only profit focused, because I think the big brands have become so margin conscious that all they are doing is they're pushing and pushing and pushing to produce larger volumes at smaller prices. And that's compromising the whole, not just the sustainability, but also the quality of the product. They're producing a lot of stocks which are not really, there's no value. So I like to work with brands who want to add value to their product. They want to work with the right people. They want to treat the people they work with right, pay the right price, work with smaller, batches, create good quality product that a consumer will hold and, feel the joy with.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's a very good point that you're bringing, and I can see that it's what motivates you to gravitate less into the bigger brands and more into those smaller, conscious and passion-driven
Passion
brands.
driven,
I feel
exactly.
most of them, like they're the guests that I'm bringing on, or people that I connect with from my network. Most of these smaller brand owners, when they start, they see a gap in the market, or there's this problem they want to solve, and they put their heart and all their soul into this project. And I think it's very valuable for them to have partners that do believe in this vision and help them take things to the next level.
Yeah, exactly. I think with the social media playing such a huge role in how today product is sold and how the D2C brands are growing, and consumer, they want to know what's happening. They want to see who's making the product, who's the person behind it, the scene. And, the more transparent the whole situation is becoming, I think it's really important to find the right partner for your sourcing and for your production, so you can give that comfort level to your consumer, that they can see where you're making, what you're making, how you're making it, and they feel that they are spending their money on the right product. When they're buying it, they are feeling good about it, not just on the fit and the feel, but also that it's coming from the right source.
Yeah, that's very true. In terms of transparency, and also definitely, yeah, like the platform play a role in that, but they also bring in a network connection and possibility to grow your customer base and how you connect with people. Which method or which sphere would you say has brought you the more connection and the more customer that were interested in growing and partnering with you?
Mostly LinkedIn only. Like, I'm always posting things that I'm passionate about, and people connect. They find you like you found me.
Yes,
So
correct.
like, I don't want to. I've been in this industry for 30 years, and I'm doing a lot of my. So I'm also working on my own brands, because I've been trying to preach for so long, and when I feel that nobody is listening, then I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this myself. So I'm also working on my own brands. And then I think if your vision is clear and you know what you want to do, the right people gravitate towards you.
I
So
agree.
yeah, so they find you. When somebody is looking for something, they find you. So I engage a lot on LinkedIn, and my network. I have the countries I've worked in, colleagues who have gone to different brands and different places. And I think it's just through the network that I find the right people who I want to work with.
Amazing. Tell me a bit more about your brand. I want to know how is this going.
Okay, so it's actually not launched yet. I'm still working on it. So I've worked in textile manufacturing most of the time. Like, I worked in garment factories also, but a lot of my 30 years was spent behind the scene in textile manufacturing, and I know how the dye stuff that we use in coloration of fabrics affects the environment and us, the consumer and the producer both. I've seen people suffering from disease, and I've seen people inhaling, and I have inhaled it myself. Like, if you walk into a dye house, like a wet processing zone, you're hit by that smell of chemicals and how they're trickling into our rivers, and all that. Really, I feel very passionate about the dyeing of process of the textiles and how it is polluting and how harmful it is for people who are working with the dyes in the factory, and then when we put it on our body and how it is absorbed through our skin. So I've been promoting vegetable colors. I'm basically from India. I grew up in India. Now I live in US. I've lived everywhere, but my roots are in India. And in India, we used to do vegetable dyes. Like, we had a lot of products which use natural vegetable dyeing, block printing, very sustainable, earth friendly. You can use your hands, you can eat it. Most of the colors you can eat, right? So because they're coming from your food, and I've been trying to promote that to brands. While in my past few jobs, I've spoken to big brands about it. I've run some trials with them, but it always gets stuck at, oh, but we get color variation. Obviously, it's natural. You're not going to hit the right shade every time. You will have shade variations. Natural products come with their own limitations, but they If you focus on just what's wrong, you'll find many things wrong. But if you focus on what is the reason you're moving to these, I think you make it work. So now I'm launching my own brand. It's called PureLuum. It's basically baby products, crib sheets and quilts using only organic cotton and vegetable dyes.
That's
No chemical.
amazing.
Yes. So it's a process. It's taken me time to find the right source for the dyes and, doing all the testing and getting all the product ready, testing the product.
Yes.
And now it's ready. I think I'm getting there. I'm going to launch maybe, I think early next month, the brand should be launched. So that's my passion project. And dye stuff, how I feel that we should be moving towards more natural dyes. And what is important is how it affects our skin, our body, and also the people who work with, and not hitting the right shade or getting the darkest black. And, you can never hit a black with natural dyes. And I think a lot of brands, I think that is where the conversation always stopped, because you want black is like, one very solid core color for most brands. And each brand has its own black Pantone. They don't all use the same black.
Yeah.
So hitting their black is what sometimes keeps them from using a lot of different dye stuff, because but we are not getting the right shade of black. So I don't have any black in my brand. No black. I don't like black. I'm more a green person. So so that's what I was talking about, is that I couldn't make the brands use it, so I'm using it, and I'm creating a brand around vegetable dyes rather than trying to fit natural dyes into my brand.
I think that's brilliant. When it comes to natural dye, like a few years ago, when sustainability started to be talked about, started to come to the surface, naturally, like the conversation around that vegetable dye started to happen. But like you said, most brands were very worried about consistency. And when it comes to making bigger quantity, like you have your first order, but what if you get repeat order? How would that play out? So there has been resistance, but I feel it's just like a matter of getting them warm up to, like, I think we will, basically, I believe in it 100%. I think we will get there. It's just a matter of letting the consumer getting used to the idea and slowly integrating it. The more they'll see it, the more like it will be worn. I think there's a lot of potential. And there's this different perspective of, yes, your garment might not always look the same, and even certain dye techniques will still have this effect that after you wash the garment, the color would evolve. But we can embrace that too. It's beautiful to have your garment, be natural as well. I think there's a lot of potential.
We age, everything natural ages, everything that is natural ages and dies. Polyester never dies because it's plastic and it's not natural. So that's the whole thing. Anything. And that's, I think the whole polyester plastic conversation came into being because, it's so durable. But that durability has become a problem now because it never dies. It's not going to disintegrate. So creating products that have a natural life and they have an end of life, which is natural. I think that is what is important rather than durability and making things last forever. You don't want things to last forever because, you're not on this planet forever. You want things to die a natural death, like everything organic and natural does. So that is how I feel about these things. And that is why I'm creating my own brand. But I also feel that if bigger brands put focus on this side, and if they adopt this, innovation will happen. Innovation is, I think, directly dependent on the demand. Wherever the brands have demanded something, the supply chain has worked on creating those solutions. The big manufacturers put money behind finding what brands are looking for. So that's what I've been doing all my life is, okay, what do the brands need? And then communicating it to the manufacturer, and then they get on, this is what the brand needs, I'm going to make it. So if the demand comes from the brand side, the suppliers will work on creating solutions in that direction. It's just the hesitancy that the brands have is holding the innovation in this space also.
Yes, I feel sometimes fashion industry can be a little bit behind in terms of adopting innovations where in the other industry it comes naturally. I feel fashion tends to be a bit more on the conservative side.
Yeah, because the kind of volumes these big players create, it's a huge commitment. And then also the whole life cycle of production, like from concept to in the shelf, it takes like 12 months. So
It does.
you have to like predict something that will hit the market a year later and how the consumer will respond to it. So the risk taking ability reduces because of that, because
Yeah.
you are so far out the market. That's why D2C brands are doing better, because they're more closer to the market. They're reacting faster to the consumer. They're telling a story, they're seeing the response, and they're changing and adapting based on what the consumer is saying. The engagement, like even
For
for
sure.
well, yeah, the reviews coming in on your website and what the people are saying on Instagram about you. There's so much engagement with the direct consumer that you are adopting and changing, and you are correcting yourself and building yourself based on consumer perception and consumer response.
Yes, that's very true. So when it comes to your new baby, your new brand, what are going to be the next immediate steps and challenge that you're tackling to move this forward? So you're saying the launch will happen soon, and where do you want to take this?
So it's basic. I'm doing D2C. So my manufacturer is in India because that's where I found the dyes. So I'm trying to stay as close to the dye producer and keeping the manufacturing very close, because so we can respond fast and we can keep everything local. I'm going to be shipping globally from India. I have a fulfillment partner there, and I'm starting with small quantities. And let's see. I'm waiting to see how the consumer responds. I have tried the product, I have washed it, and it looks really beautiful. The colors they're limited colors, because there's nature only has there's no black, like I said. So it limits what I need to work with. So maybe I don't have a huge variety of shades, but I think they work very well for babies. And I think the most important thing is why I started with the baby line instead of going into adult fashion or women's fashion is because I feel the newborn skin is the most tender, the most delicate, and
Yes.
should not be exposed to harsh chemicals. So I'm going to make everything and anything that a newborn needs and that touches the skin of a newborn baby in my brand. So that's where the effort is. And then I think I'm going to move to maternity, because when you're pregnant, what you're wearing, again, your skin, and that your baby is feeding on you. So that's how I'm starting it. Like, my focus is to provide a mother with a completely non-toxic product for her baby and for herself for now.
That's a great vision. I think there's definitely a market for that, and I'm happy we're putting this conversation out there and to reach as many people as this, because it's an ongoing topic that I've heard from like my network contact or my friends around, that whenever you are like, when it comes to baby, we are more careful, and even just the stores, there's more regulation, more tests, more requirement whenever it comes to baby products. So definitely that is something to address.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah. Let's see.
when it comes to TYGR, where is the, let's say, 5 years vision towards that side, and how they
So
can somehow probably work together?
So since this is a very new, like till last year, I was working with another, I was consulting for some major brands manufacturing. Tygr is new. And currently our engagement is, a lot of it is like local Indonesian brands. So I'm working with a lot of local Indonesian brands. Indonesia is a fourth largest populated country. It has its own very unique fashion industry because it's mostly modest fashion. Being a Muslim country, the brands that work everywhere else don't really work in Indonesia. So there's a huge market, and there are a lot of very creative new designers who are coming up with their own collections in modest wear. And I'm working on helping them create the right pattern, the right fit, finding the right fabric. But we also work with some smaller brands in, Australian brands and US brands. and some Canadian brands to create the right material, find the right material, find the right product at the right price to help them with MOQ issues. We do smaller volumes. That's what I'm trying to keep everything very small, not have huge lines of factory making the same item, creating so much stock, and then for wholesale. It's more focused on creating the right product at the right price.
Amazing. Well, Anshu, thank you so much for joining the podcast. It was a pleasure.
It was my pleasure. I had not intended to talk about PureLuum at the beginning of it, but I think the conversation just naturally flew there because I'm very passionate about what I'm doing. And thank you so much for having me. And I wish you all the best with this new journey that you've started. I hope you have lots of amazing conversations with the people and bring the clarity to our consumer on what happens behind the scene.
Yes, that's the mission.